We are live. How you doing, everybody? I'm JB. This is Gabe, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the hottest list on YouTube. I'm telling you, wait till you see what we're going to show you tonight. This is the Shakers list. You know how we like to get it started? We want to give you a chance to come in, congregate, co-mingles with each other, maybe drop a thumbs up on you. Yeah, TiVo's here, but he's going to be directing in the backstage. Maybe he can give us a little beat. Can you drop some beat on us, Steve? Let's see.
In a world where everyone had a Merry Christmas, the time is now.
1, 2, 3,
DJ Lady Style, aka the Busy Girl.
rock the funky beat, the funky beat. Like this. Yeah, boy.
That's right. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for joining us live on YouTube. I'm JB with Discovery Bay. Well, tonight I'm with the Lords of the Long Box, and I'm co-hosting tonight with Gabe from Gabe Loves 90 Comics. Gabe, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, everybody. Thanks for showing up, everybody, to the Great Shakers show today. Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas. That was an awesome music intro. Got to give it up to the lady DJs out there making it happen.
Got to give it up to the lady DJs out there. And happy holidays to everybody. Stay safe, 100%. Now, before we get started with this fantastic list, you know what we got to do. We got to pay the bills. It's time to pay the bills and say hi to shout out a couple of the sponsors. Starting with CovrPrice. Man, this is a fantastic website. If you are not checking out CovrPrice, you're missing out. Wait till you see what we're going to present tonight. Plus, it is an absolutely great place for price guides for raw and graded comics. I've got my entire CGC collection in here. And if you want to see what's going on in the market, notice the trends while they're happening, this is the website for you, coverprice.com. Make sure you're checking them out. Next up, KRScomics.com, home of some of the most fantastic exclusives out there. And remember, discount code LOTLB will get you 15% off all those exclusives and your weekly pull. That's right. You can get your weekly pull right there at KRS Comics and still use that discount code. Right now, coming up, we've got this Venom Appreciation variant by Mike Mayhew. This is a limited time offer. It is going to be available from December 17th through December 31st. And this is what you got to do. If you spend over $50, you're going to receive this appreciation variant for free. You just add the item to your cart. How fantastic is that? Don't forget that discount code LOTLB. All right. Are you guys ready?
Let's make it happen, man. What we got
Let's
going
do
on
this.
today?
Now, this list comes from our friends at CovrPrice, focusing on the new high sales or the most interesting sales found on their exclusive daily Shakers list. This list changes several times every day, so make sure to check it every day to review some of the hottest trending books in the market. And number one on the list in alphabetical order, what have we got?
All right, this week, number one shaker coming up is 2000 AD number 2 from 1977. This is the British weekly anthology, features the first appearance of Judge Dredd, created by John Wagner and artist Carlo Escarrera. The character was made famous by the Sylvester Stallone live-action 1992 film, and the incredible, awesome Carl Urban Dread 3D in 2012. Go check that movie out. That was great. Dread is an independent favorite with an increasing fan base, despite no current content. With that said, his first appearance is highly undervalued and seen by this week's 8.5 raw sale of $850. It's an all-time high. It's an all-time excuse me, its all-time high is a high-grade raw sale of $1,200. It's important to remember how challenging it is to find, especially here in the US. Also, due to its low paper quality, it's even tougher to find in high grade. There are only 7 copies on the CGC census, with the highest grade being a 9.0, and then drops significantly to a 7.5. With that said, that 8.5 might have been a significant deal.
What do you think? $850 for a raw?
That's
8.5.
rough. That's awesome. It always surprises me when you see these raw prices, because I wonder, like, that's a lot of money to drop on something raw. You're putting a lot of faith in the seller.
Right.
You're putting a lot of faith in the book. All those kinds of things really come into factor, and it's really exciting to see these high number of raw sales. The CGC high sales are always awesome and great, but there's something really special when it comes down to these raw sales, because again, you don't know how. You got to trust the seller. You got to trust the experience. You got to trust the shipping. Yeah, all that. There's just so much.
You got to ask for lots of pictures. I want to see the inside cover. I want to see the center. I want to see so much.
I want to see staples.
This guy's gonna be like, to hell with you. But $850 raw. Ultimately, Judge Dredd first appearance, he's probably still undervalued.
It has to be, because $850 does not sound like a lot for something of that significant of a character, even outside of the films. With that being, that's one of the highest grossing, most popular European comics, like modern day wise. You had so many great artists that worked through that. Like Brian Boland really scratched the surface of that book during that series. There's a lot involved with that character, and to see these kinds of sales, it's perfect. Really cool stuff to see. Look at this cover. Look at that crazy alien and that arm with like the robot gears inside of it. Yeah,
totally undervalued.
I would pick it up just because how cool the cover is.
Right. There was a question in the chat. I wonder if it came with the stickers. Right? Check out those cool stickers.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. It's like with the Lakeside tattoos. You got to make sure that stuff involved, or even like the Captain Marvel or Captain Britain mask. There's a lot to do. You got to do your research. You got to know what you're doing if you're going to be buying high dollar prices on these raw foreign books, for sure.
Well, if you thought that was cool, wait till you see the next one on the list. Next up, we've got Amazing Spider-Man issue number 1, the Golden Record reprint. Yes, it's from 1966. It's a reprint. Now it's time to talk about the granddaddies of all Marvel reprints. Reprints with a sonorous twist. The Golden Record reprints, aka the GRRs. Now, the 4 GRRs are probably not news to most collectors, as the following are some of Marvel's grails. These 4 include Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 1, the second appearance of Spider-Man, the first meeting of Spidey and the Fantastic Four. Avengers, issue number 4, Captain America joins the team, first Silver Age Captain America, first Captain America in a Marvel branded title. Fantastic Four, issue number 1, the first appearance of Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Thing, and the first team appearance. And Journey into Mystery number 83, the first Thor. These reprints were released between 1.5 to 4.5 years after the original comic release and came bundled with a record containing a word-by-word reading of the respective comic with sound effects. Now, don't think you're going to be able to spend facsimile edition money to get a copy. These things have some standalone value and are on the rise. For instance, An Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 1, Golden Record reprint in a Universal CGC 9.6, just sold for an all-time high of $3,500. This is more than the highest 9.8 sale and the previous all-time high record set back in 2020. Now, while these Golden Record reprints aren't exactly rare, there's 550 universal copies on the CGC census, they aren't something you come across all that often, especially not in high grade. I mean, these were read along with comics that are now over 55 years old. Can't afford the original? These golden record reprints are a great way to have that Silver Age comic smell in your collection, but at a fraction of the original price. Woo! Gabe, what do you think of this one?
Now, these are the ones that actually came with physical records too, right?
Correct.
So those
Yes.
are also really cool. We should get we should find videos of some people with those records and we can mix it up, like do some scratchy stuff, and then that'd be a new intro for the show.
I've got a few golden record reprints. I had one
Oh,
as a
dude.
child. I had not this Spider-Man one, but I had another Spider-Man one. And there was a YouTuber, as a matter of fact. I think it was Barbarian Kung Fu. Shout out to Barbarian Kung Fu. He played the entire record on his YouTube channel. And it beeps when you turn the page.
Yep.
And I got so nostalgic. I
Oh, that's
went out
great.
and bought that on eBay and then went out and started buying all the other golden record reprints that I could find. I love these things. These are fantastic.
Yeah, I love it because it looks almost exactly like the Amazing Spider-Man #1 cover with some differences, and that's the same with all of them. The Fantastic Four and the first appearance of Thor and all that. The Fantastic Four one I think is great because they actually kind of redid the cover a little bit. It's slightly different. There's missing characters and stuff like that in the background, but again, just like we were saying, you get that kind of 60s Silver Age touch and feel. The smell. If you can't afford the original #1, and let's face it, not many people out there can these days. It's completely priced out. It's pretty unobtainable, but this is a nice kind of significant alternative to owning something like that as well. Plus you get the cool record as well. So
Absolutely. And I agree with JLS Comics comment that any book in the 60s that you're getting in the 9s, yeah, they're gonna
that's
go for
time
the money.
traveling stuff right there. Somebody had to go back into time, the way back
Right.
machine, and get something in that kind of a grade.
Man, since Spider-Man's on fire, we should have done an over-under on any Spider-Man related comic book. But since Spider-Man is the topic of the day, Gabe, what do we got coming up next?
Let's keep going with Spider-Man. Shaker #3 this week, everybody. We're looking at Amazing Spider-Man #294 from Marvel Comics 1987. This book features the death by suicide of Kraven the Hunter. What a really creepy, great book. The Spider-Man adversary with brave contemption for fashion. A CGC copy in 9.8 grade. Recently sold for $550, with a raw copy selling for an impressive $30. This book could be experiencing interest due to the recent casting of Aaron Taylor Johnson, MCU's Pietro Maximoff / Quicksilver. He was also Kick-Ass in Sony's proposed Kraven the Hunter film, or simply because it's just a damn good comic book. This issue is the penultimate chapter of the Fearful Symmetry Kraven's Last Hunt storyline, in which we learn what happens to a villain when they win, when they get exactly what they want. Writer J.M. DeMatteis originally envisioned the story for the Joker, who would go sane after finally murdering Batman. He instead took the concept to Marvel, revising the narrative to suit the Marvel Universe and Spidey, and riveting, disturbing classics were born. Love this book. Love this book. It's interesting. Coincidentally, I'm reading it right now, is the Kraven the Last Hunt storyline. And it's such a great story. We were talking about a little bit in the background.
Yeah, this storyline is fantastic. That is a really interesting little detail there, that this story was originally a Joker story that was adapted to a Marvel property. That's fantastic. That is the kind of information that you only get right here, my friends, on the CovrPrice Shakers list. You
That's
don't
right.
hear that kind of stuff everywhere else. Now, a real quick note on this particular storyline. I read this as part of my Comic Core Monday night show, Modern Men. We read books, and this was the first book I had ever read digitally. And when you read books digitally, you have the option of doing them in full page format or in frame by frame format. For anybody that's out there that's read a comic book digitally, go back and read this run frame by frame when you've never read it before, because I had never read it before. Wow. Kraven is insane.
Yeah, this
There
is the
were
most
scenes
significant
that
Kraven
just
storyline.
blew my mind, where he's eating spiders, and when you don't know it's coming, because we all do it Don't lie. I know we try not to when we're reading a comic book. You try not to have your eye glance ahead, but as you turn the page, there might be a splash or something, and you're always going to cheat just a little bit when you read a comic book frame by frame digitally, which I do not suggest, by the way, because it was it was still pretty tough. It was fantastic in this regard because he was insane and the art was fantastic.
Yeah,
All right,
great
next.
storyline. Yeah, let's make it
go
happen.
ahead.
What we got? What we got coming up next, JB?
All right, next up on the list, we've got, we should have done the over-unders on the Spider-Man before we started. All right, Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 5, but the Gray Land 1 in 25 variant, originally published in 2014 from Marvel Comics, and you've heard us say it before, Spider-Man-related books are some of the steadier investments you can make. As seen by Spider-Man No Way Home, the Spider World is only getting more robust in the MCU. The enthusiasm around the animated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is palpable. Spider-based books are on the rise, especially for new characters in the spotlight, like India and 2099. However, characters from the first animated film are also moving. Penny Parker, aka Spider, created by Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance, had an edgier comic aesthetic with the well-designed mech suit. With her suit damaged in the first film, there's hope that she'll return to the next with something that resembles what Way created. Now, regardless, there's a growing fan base around her comic version, hence last week's all-new high sale of $700 for a CGC 9.8. Ooh, what do you think of all these characters? All of the Edge of Spider-Verse characters, I think, are going to be on fire. This movie is getting closer and closer, and as soon as the next, we only got a teaser. As soon as that next trailer drops and they reveal even more characters, we got a single teaser that showed Spider-Man. It didn't even show Spider-Man India. It showed text in Indian text, and it showed Spider-Man 2099, and everybody blew up.
Yep.
What's going to happen when we physically see these return characters on the next one? This book's got room.
Not just that, but that's part 2 of 3. So there's going to be a third one coming up that could have even more Spider-Verse or multiverse Spider-Man characters popping up as well. So anything out there is good buys if you're looking for first appearances of alternate Spider-Man characters. So we still got one more movie afterwards. So much more to come out of that as well.
So much more.
And these 1 in 25 variants, nobody was buying these books like store wise. I was working in a store at the time here in 2014. I remember racking these books, and nobody was really getting 1 in 25s. Nobody was really ordering those. These were like these ratio variants was kind of a new thing, and it was a little hard to convince stores to order more copies and for people to buy it and things like that. But seeing these prices come around, that's where it's coming from. These books are tough to find.
Nice. All right, what have we got next on the list?
All right, so next on the list after Edge of Spider-Verse, we got Shaker number 5 this week is Good Old Elephant Men number 18, Image Comics 2009. This is Mickey, a cab driver and friend of Hip Flask, the hybrid hippopotamus man and elephant men by Richard Starkings and Maureen Churchland. Number 18 is a flip book, so both the front and back can be seen on the cover, which can be a little confusing if you're encountering it in the wild or flip through in a CGC case. This story develops Mickey's character as she struggles with her evolving feelings towards Hip Flask and the Elephant Men. But let's be honest, the graded 9.8 sell of this issue for $415 this week was probably not because of the story.
No.
This issue stands out for the incredible J. Scott Campbell Bad Girl cover, which features Mickey posing the provocative and existential question to all comic book collectors. But is it art?
Hell yeah, it's art.
Yeah, that's one of those books that it's hard to find. You'll pass it through with this being like a flip cover book. But man,
what does that mean when you say flip cover? Meaning that you may end up seeing the back of it?
Right. You might see the back of it, or maybe this is on the back cover. I forget exactly how it looks. But nobody's reading Elephant Men. I don't know anybody who really talks much about that book. Really cool book, really interesting storylines, really interesting art. But yeah, what we're looking at here is just another amazing underappreciated gem of a J. Scott Campbell cover.
Now, I know that he's patterned his female figure off of his wife or girlfriend or something to that effect. Um, all the way back then, or has it changed? Because this character seems more voluptuous than some of his current characters.
I think it's more of the faces for his wife. I think, and also it's changed recently. I think he has a new wife. I've hung out with him and his new wife before when I was working at Torpedo Comics doing their signings and stuff like that. And J. Scott Campbell can still pull it in. I'm telling you that much. Yeah. So you can see the changes in his females' faces because he went from one girlfriend from another. But yeah, you're definitely right. He does style that after it. And yeah, he doesn't really do really busty women. He's usually pretty clean and neat. But this is a great cover though. Wow, look at it. The paint splashes on it, and it's great. Look at that.
Good stuff. You know, we are at the halfway point of the show, and I want to shout out the fantastic live chat that we have with us today. Thank you, each and every one of you, for stopping in. If you have not already, please do hit that thumbs up. And since we're at the halfway point, let's take a moment to hear from our newest sponsor.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
Absolutely. You got to check out MySlabs.com. They got a great selection over there. All right. Are we ready for the next one on the list? The next item on the list is Harley Quinn issue number 11, the Amanda Connor variant, originally published in 2014 from DC. Now, while DC's New 52 seemed like a fun experiment, it did produce some fantastic covers. While Marvel books seemed to get the most attention, DC is starting to gain significant traction. This is especially the case for variants from the New 52. One of the highlights was this run, where Harley Quinn teamed up with Power Girl for multiple issues. Amanda Connor offered several tongue-in-cheek covers, which mocks Power Girl's fuller physique. Last week, this variant jumped from $25 sales to $75 sales, with a new high of $100 sale. This is a great one to hunt for when you're out in the wild. New 52 variants. What do you think of that, Gabe?
Yeah, again, we're looking at 2014,
right?
Again, we're looking at a time where variants were still very new and people didn't really want to spend that extra like $10, $20 or whatever it was for the variant. But yeah, that's still what's driving up these prices. These didn't get ordered. They didn't get sold a lot. These are sitting in people's collections. You're not going to really find these in like a dollar box for the most part.
No, definitely not. All right, this next one, I don't even know what to say. I'm glad you got the read on this one. I was shocked when I saw it on the list. Gabe, tell me what we got next.
This one's great. I love this. This is for number 7. This is the Overstreet comic book price guide number 1 from Overstreet, November 1st, 1970. Before the age of the internet and CovrPrice.com, Overstreet was the only way to get market values for years until Wizard, the Guide to Comics magazine, stepped in 1991 and dominated the price guide market. I love Wizard. I still got probably like 100 copies of that thing lying around.
Oh man, I got a bunch of Wizard too.
Oh yeah. We exist today specifically due to the path that they started. This first issue of the Overstreet Guide has become a highly sought after collectible and hit a new high sale of $2,000 for a mere CGC 5.0. How meta do you have to get when a price guide is trending on a price guide? It's insane. These were the very first issue. It was just like a pamphlet. It was just like folded up pieces of paper that are basically stapled together, almost like an ash can. If people out there know what ash cans are. So these are impossible to find. These things are ghosts. They were just used and thrown away. Same with like preview magazines or anything like that. Nobody really collected Overstreet guides. But wow, what a great sale. $2,000 for the
$2,000.
for the first price, and it's only a CGC like 5.0. And you can kind of make the cracks of why even do it at CGC. You can't open it up and like compare old prices or anything like that. But still, again, a price guide showing up on a price guide. How funny is that?
That's just crazy, man. This was before I was born. I actually have this Marvel Guide to Collecting Comics, which is a paper thing that I remember getting as a child, and
Mhm.
I took really good care of it and kept it bagged and boarded. I saw that thing pop up on Instagram the other day. Someone was actually reviewed it. They went through one page by page, and I got all nostalgic. I was like, oh, I gotta go find this. And that's what this is. Somebody sees this and you're like, oh man, I remember that. I gotta have it. And somebody had to have it enough to pay $2,000 for it in a graded 5.0. There you go. The Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide, issue number 1. Okay, next up on the list. Woo. I'm gonna pronounce it correctly this time. Pokemon, the first movie, Me Too Strikes Back, issue number 4, originally published in 1998 from Viz Media. Now, Pokemon is highly relevant these days. The brand has nostalgia mega buyers like influencer Logan Paul, who just dropped $3.5 million last week on a first edition base set of Pokemon cards.
Ugh. Wow.
It's a brand where parents of first run Pokemon collectors share this with their kids. Then you have the collector investor side of it all. Of course, this trickles over to comics, where these same fans are spending big money on key issues. For example, this particular issue, which features no notable key appearances, hit a high sale of $676 for a CGC 9.2, with only 3 copies on the census. Maybe it's time to grab one of the $4 copies that my comic shop offers up every month or so. It's also time to pay attention to any high grade Pokemon comic. Wow.
This has been fairly common on the Shakers list or even the top 10 list, is seeing these original mangas showing up more and more. Manga is huge. I don't know if you read manga or anything, JB, or
I do not.
they are the highest selling books on the market across the world. They trump comic book sales. They make comic book. They eat every comic book sells lunch. Like they are unstoppable in sales.
Where are these sales occurring?
It has to be, I guess, to Amazon sales. There's even like specialty stores that are like manga-based stores. More and more comic book stores are. I know one of my local LCSs out here. They're gravitating a little bit more to manga. You can see the manga section slowly starting to take over. You go to like a Barnes and Noble or a bookstores, it's manga all over the place. I have friends who are school teachers, and when they do, remember the old school, like Scholastic's book fairs?
Yeah.
It's all about like Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, One Piece. There's some great stuff out there in the world of manga, like Fist of the North Star, Berserker. It is unfathomable. These things sell
huge numbers.
We're
Huge
talking
numbers.
like hundreds of millions of copies. They are insane.
There's a comment in the chat that said Demon Slayer alone outsells American comics.
Yeah, it eats its lunch. It beats it up. It kicks sand in its face.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. It's great. I mean, manga's a one. I read a lot of manga these days. A lot of my friends got me into it. I can see why the influence of these books are hitting the market.
What makes it different? What's the catch?
Here's the thing.
What's the hook?
Here's what I like about it. Here's where it really comes from is these books, the little, like, they're called tokabombs. They're like those little kind of smaller size books. Mm-hmm. You get an entire book for like $10. So if you find it like on a website, Amazon or whatever, you get it a little bit cheaper, $7-8. They're all complete continual stories. So you could so instead of somebody who's like, I want to read Spider-Man, where do I start from Spider-Man? You go, yeah. All right, buddy. Well, you got a little bit to go. We got to kind of figure it out. You got to go down this path and go down that path. Another thing that really charges this up, and I'll tell you, is the anime influence. Because these books basically, or I should say the animes, follow these books almost to a T. So if somebody's really big into an anime, say like Attack on Titan, and the anime ends, like that season is over, and you go, holy crap, I want to know what happens next. You can go right to the bookstore and pick up a volume of the manga that picks up exactly where the show left off and continue reading. So you can't really do that much with Marvel movies or DC films. And you go, oh, I just saw Spider-Man No Way Home. I want to know what happens next. You step into a comic book store, it's not going to happen. There's nothing there to pick up from where you left off. So you have that. You have the amazing art influence that's in these things as well. So you get super cheap. It's all cohesive. It's easy to start. You just go from volume 1 to volume 30. Some of these books, like One Piece, just hit volume 100. So it's like 100 big, thick trade paperbacks.
Wow.
So it's a lot to do. But again, it's like, where do I start? Well, just start from number 1. Where do I start in Batman? Well, you can just read. You can read Hush. You can read that storyline, or you could read that storyline. But you can't go from the very first issue and all the way to the end and have a cohesive story. And it's all done by the same writer, the same artist. Usually the writing artist is the same person who has a bunch of assistants. So it's just that whole cohesive idea being put together. It makes it a better reading experience than what we're seeing with comic books these days, where it's like, oh, I'm going to read the storyline. It's going to be 27 issues and 30% of that is garbage, and the other 75% is still kind of garbagey. Where here it's like, I just read it from the beginning to the end. It's the same writer, same artist, everything flows. So that's my take on the manga right now.
Fantastic take, Gabe. I really appreciate you being on the show today. And you've got the next read. What do we have next on the list?
All right, next on the list for number 9, we got Super Villain Classics number 1. Coming from Marvel Comics in 1983. In case you have been living under a rock, Galactus is coming. We have seen some pretty impressive high sales of Fantastic Four number 48, first appearance over the past year. So much so that collectors who may have missed out on that issue's affordability are now trying to get ahead of the curve by picking up other Galactus-based comic books. Although there are many of them out there to choose from, this past week, a select few were popping. Who doesn't love a good supervillain, especially when it is none other than Galactus himself? The cover is beautifully drawn with the bright Galactus purple offset by the black Galactus or the Black Galaxy background. This issue reprints origin stories from previous comic books. Lately, we have seen a few CGC 9.8 copies sell in the $400 range, with a raw copy hitting $50. Graded 9.8 copies are now listed close to $1,000. So there is an excellent window of opportunity to snag high grade raw copies for a lot less. I love that book. I love that Bob Layton cover. What a cool cover it is.
I bought this off the newsstand when I was a kid. I remember this book. I have this book. I've read this book several times. This was a foundational read for me, which, yes, this is one of those books that gets me right in the feels, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. Yeah, and everything Galactus, everything Silver Surfer, just wait. There's no ceiling on those books right now. So
none at all.
Just waiting for them to come up in the movie once, and those scenes are going. Not that they're all that obtainable these days, but they're going to the moon once anything is spoken or mentioned in the movie coming up.
Hey, funny you should mention going to the moon, because wait till you see this next one. All right, folks. Our final shaker tonight on the list, we've got Vengeance, issue number 1, the Mike Deodato 1 in 15 variant. Originally published in 2011 from Marvel Comics, and we're circling back to America. This variant was barely given a second chance back in 2011, with the character well weaved into Marvel Comics and appearing in the MCU. It's a whole different story today. Hot off the new Doctor Strange trailer, this variant hit a new all-time high sale of $5,800 for a CGC 9.8.
Damn!
Man, give it up to that guy. Give it up
Right?
to him. Wow.
Wow. This not only makes this one of the most valuable modern day variants, but it also makes America Chavez one of the most valuable modern day characters.
I'm
I
blown
don't know
away.
how I feel about this, to be
I,
honest with you.
I'm blown away. This is a beautiful cover. I love Mike Diodado's artwork in here with all the great villains on it. But just the fact that America Chavez is now, she's still very unknown. Like, she is not going to be a household name until Multiverse of Madness comes out. But just that she has this kind of pull, that this
Right?
1 in 15 variant from 2011 is pushing $6,000. I
That's
mean, it's incredible. It's
huge.
incredible. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. It makes me kind of discombobulated, kind of thinking about it.
Right?
But the market speaks for what it is. When I look at these kinds of sales like this, JB, I think to myself, and this is in no way to disparage anything, but I'm like, you know what kind of amazing like Silver Age book you can get for that kind of
I
price?
I was just saying, you know what I would spend that 5,800 bucks on? There's a lot of books I would spend that 5,800 bucks on before I'd spend it on this.
I hear you, but you know what? If this is somebody's grand scheme, you know, they got the right idea. You know, buy it. It's expensive. It's probably only going to go up once that character's kind of weight in the world and she becomes a household name continues to grow. But
No, hold on though.
man,
Do you believe that? Because what if it doesn't? What if this is the height? I wonder if this book is at its height based on you just saw her back, because that's normally what happens. It's that trailer view. It's
mhm.
that first trailer of Carnage was the height of the carnage, and it only got lower and lower and lower after the first trailer. And now we've got this first drop of her. You know, we see her from the back, and people are going crazy. But now the market's about to get flooded because there was probably one of these or two of these for sale,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
what
and
what
now
Tivo
we're going to
said.
see 10 of these for sale. And I think that I don't know if it can continue to go up. I mean, who is this character to be commanding this kind of money? I just don't get it.
She's a fun character. I loved her in the Young Avengers, the kind of second wave of Young Avengers comics. And like what Tivo was saying, that she's going to show up in the Young Avengers TV show, movie, whatever they got planned for that. I think there's still legs. There's still a lot for this character, because it's kind of like what you were saying. You kind of get that effect with these characters where, one, they get a boost and they get announced, right? You get that announcement boost, and then you get the casting boost, and then you get the first appearance, like the first kind of visual of the character, and then you get the action boost. So in terms of like the Carnage that you were talking about, as long as that Multiverse of Madness is not, you know, is
Hot
well
garbage.
received. Yeah, okay. I was trying to come up with a more transparent way of saying it. But yeah, if it's not total garbage and hot crap, there's no room left. There is still a lot of room left for these characters. But again, you got to think, who else is going to be available to punch up these numbers higher? Who's going to spend the $7,000-8,000 that this book would command? $10,000, $12,000, who knows?
And
Once that character becomes something else. Look at the Greg Land Spider-Gwen book.
Spider-Gwen. I was just going to say,
yeah.
we're going to, you know what, I think we're going to see a couple of these on today's Shakers list when we go review the list. But these 1 in 15, these high ratio variants of the character's first appearance is like the ultimate, the top of the top. And that's what some collectors are willing to pay for. They're like,
Yeah.
no, I don't just want first appearance. I need first appearance 9/8, whatever the rarest one was that I could get my hands on. And I think for her character, that would be this book. This would be the rarest.
There's nothing
there.
more for this book to get out there. There's nothing more valuable or sought after of her appearances than this. Nothing else is going to top $6,000, no matter what she's got else out there. Because this, again, not to keep kind of beating the same drum, but 2011, nobody's buying variants. None of the stores are ordering variants, especially for this book, Vengeance. Like, I had a couple copies of the original cover back because I am an America Chavez fan, because I liked her, like I said, from the Young Avengers storyline. But those books were just, nobody ordered them. Nobody had any idea behind, you know, the idea of the Vengeance storyline and Joe Casey writing it, and the Mike Diodato, not Mike Diodato, the Gabriel Dell'Otto covers and things like that. It's only time will tell either I'm right or you're right, and we're going to see what's going to come out of this. But it's going to be exciting to see where this goes, because this is topping Miles Morales
This is
numbers.
huge number.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah,
number.
you're telling me that. Oh man, yeah, an Ultimate Fallout 4, which is going to be on our list. Let's go to the list. As a matter of fact,
Let's take a look.
Let's see the rest of the Shakers list today. This list changes. I'm going to add this to the stream here. See if this will add. Does it add? Yeah, let's give it full screen. There it is. All right. So if you are not subscribed or checking out CovrPrice, you're absolutely missing out. I could spend hours over here, and we're going to spend about 20 minutes over here checking out what's going on here.
You can get a free account, check it out, give it a test drive, kick the wheels. But I like it. I have a full version subscription to it as well. It's the price of a McRib, like
there you go.
The tagline here says. Yeah,
the price of a McRib. So what they do is, these are the highest price. They go in descending orders. So there was a $25,000 sale in an Incredible Hulk 1.
3.0.
In a 3.0, this book in a 3.0.
I don't know what the paper quality was for that book, because I've sold a lot of Hulk #1s in my time working through Torpedo Comics, and it's either white pages or brittle. It's either one side of the spectrum or the other. So it's really crazy with that book and the paper quality of it. It's either perfect or hot garbage.
Yeah. A 3.0 sold December 22nd for $25,000.
And here's the thing about CovrPrice too, is that these are legitimate sells. This isn't like made up information or they're pulling it from other places. Like, these are actually aggregated sales, which is really good to see. There's no speculation behind any of this. It's really aggregated sales. And that's the fun part behind all of this.
Okay, so we were just talking about America Chavez. So you're telling me that America Chavez, that character in 9.8, is worth more than the newsstand New Mutants 98 first appearance of Deadpool?
I don't know if it's a rarity thing, because JLS Comics even said like the print run for Vengeance #1 was less than 26,000 copies.
But we know that the newsstand on this book in the 90s, what was this, 91 is 10%. 10% of the run. So a graded 9.8, which by the way is down. That's down from the previous 9.8 in a newsstand. But there was a sale just yesterday for $39,000 in that newsstand.
We'll see what this looks like. We'll see what this looks like once Deadpool is actually in the MCU. I think that's going to get a major boost. I think there's still some meat on the bone on that New Mutants 98. As much as people want to badmouth Todd McFarlane or Rob Liefeld, excuse me, and 90s comics and 90s art, but that Deadpool comic is still a significant first appearance.
We never bring this up on the show because we see it all the time. We don't have to bring this up. Everyone knows what's going on with this book, but I just want to put it into reference. Would you rather? Who do you think the ceiling is higher for? The ceiling is higher for America Chavez or for Ultimate Fallout 4?
I think Ultimate Fallout 4, especially the Jurgovich cover, that's already pulling in like 25, 30 grand.
Good Lord. This one.
Yeah.
This is this would be the rarest of his first appearances, right?
That's the big book right now.
This is the big bad boy book. This is the book that goes for, what's this thing going for?
Well, did that sell for Raw for $46? It said.
It said there was a Raw on September 4th. There's no way.
That had to have been a mistake or
I'm looking at the wrong book. I'm looking at the wrong book. Sorry.
Oh, Raw fair market value at 1,000.
I was looking at the wrong book. I was looking at the wrong book. Wrong book.
We're back in reality.
Here we go. Raw, $1,000 on December 14th. A 9.6, 10,005. So that she's in this territory.
Look, the highest graded or highest sell, $31,000.
$31,000.
That's again. You know what kind of silver age? Like, you could get a blue chip silver. Again, not to disparage, but you collect what you love and love what you collect. But $30,000, you could get yourself a AF-15. It'd be kind of a lower grade AF-13, AF-15, but still you get an FF1. Yeah, that's still a great book. Though.
Still hot. Silver Surfer 3 still hot. X-Men 4 still hot. These are keys. Look at all they're all key. You get the little logo here for the key. ASM 129. That's all key. All key. Here's the regular Vengeance. Okay. So this is the regular cover is going for 1550 and a 9.8. That still puts her way up there, man.
Yeah. I can only imagine what's going to happen when she shows up in Multitude of Madness or Multiverse of Madness. She gets her own show, Young Avengers. It's I said it behind the scenes, but what a great time to be a comic book fan.
Right?
We're just getting an abundance of shows, movies, content. It's
horror
wonderful.
books at. Where's all the good horror books at? We got more Spider-Man, Hulk 180, first appearance of Wolverine.
There's a Planet Comics right there.
Here we go. Here's something cool to look at. Look at this. Look at that cover. Look at this guy, man. He's got okay.
I like how you say how he has his knee on that other astronaut's chest.
He's got his knee on his
owning
chest.
That fool.
Space wrenched women and plastic men.
Cargo for Amazonian. This is great stuff. And
I love it.
This
Planet
is that
Comics 10 cents.
This is that pre-code stuff, and that's amazing. What's the price?
53. So that would be right there because isn't the Comic Code Authority 54? I believe
it's about 54, about 55 when that started happening. And these were books that
$1,000 for a raw.
Well, that's incredible. I can see that these things have been undervalued for so long. When you think about the history and the lore and just the idea of not only did these things survive since 1954, so it survived through all these different wars, all these different presidential changes, all this upheaval that happens in the country and things like that. But not just that, these pre-code books survived like book burnings. When that
right?
when that Seduction of the Innocent book came out, it caused parents to legitimately host book burnings of all these comic books. Just to see that these things survived through all of that is just means so much more, and it adds such a great story to these books.
We've got Space Adventures here, another 10 center. Captain Atom in this the introducing Captain Atom. I wondered this is the first appearance. Was this a key? I didn't check. Let's check.
Hey, you can win 2 tickets to Disneyland with that book.
It is a key. Origin and first appearance of Captain Atom, and a graded 5.5 sold yesterday for $1,000.
Good stuff.
It's not too bad.
No, not too bad for something like that. Again, these things are just fantastic books to have. It's such a piece of history. Oh, look at that.
Dude, these covers are crazy. These old Batman covers were outrageous, man. Look at he's got he got a hammer in his hand. He's about to just
he's got a wrench.
Robin.
Yeah, he's about to take him
down.
down.
He got a wrench in his hand.
Is this
the guy's gonna hit him with the Tommy gun?
I think this is one of my favorite Batman arts, just because he has the best name ever. I think that might be a Dick Sprang cover.
Ooh, look at that. A Dick Sprang cover. So this is from 1941. 1941.
Mhm.
Detective Comics issue 58. This is the first appearance of Penguin. Whoa, I need to take another look at that cover for reference. First appearance of Penguin is in Detective Comics 58.
Remember that book.
Did not know that. Make a mental note. And we had a raw sale yesterday for $975.
I wish there was a way we could figure out what they said the
grade was. The estimated.
Right.
Sometimes it does. They'll say high grade, low grade, mid grade on the raws when you're looking at raw data.
But again, just dropping $1,000 on a raw book to like some random seller, like that takes a lot to do.
What is this?
Crazy Comics.
Crazy Comics issue number 9. 10 center from 1943. So this is definitely what's going on with this one. A raw dog sold for $8.99. Doesn't say key of any value, no key referenced. Crazy Comics.
Yeah, these are also those books that kind of people in their later years who are still experiencing nostalgia and they want to buy their old kid comic books. So you'll see things like that. You'll see the old Mickey Mouse books, the old Duck books. It's people of that generation picking these things up who have the extra money to drop $1,000 on something like that. Look at that beautiful cover.
Dude, this cover is wicked. Look at her hand and her foot. So one hand is regular, the other hand is like a claw. One foot is in the stiletto or in the high heel, and the other foot is a claw. This is
super
wicked.
Super
This
hot.
is wicked. So this is the issue number 3, the Natalie Sanders Virgin Take Me Home, Big Dog Ink, and a raw. Sold for $900 yesterday. Wow. Wow.
Natalie Sanders
Ursa
cover
Minor,
too.
issue number 3.
Never heard of this.
Never heard of that one.
Wow.
All right, what else have we got on this?
Let's take a look at
Shakers.
that Submariner number 1. I think
Am I
that's
seeing one?
that's that book is because people can't. Again, it's the first appearance of Submariner in Fantastic Four number 4, Out of Reach. I think
Out of Reach.
This is probably going to be like that backup book that people will be looking
Ooh.
for. Look at that, $800 for 7.0. Beautiful. I think that's a John Buscema cover. But wow, I remember when these books were just kind of whatever, and now
Like whatever, he's got his own title. Whatever.
yeah, I mean, even all this time, yeah, whatever, no big deal. It's just Submariner. But I mean, he's one of the first superheroes. He's the first superhero to fly. It's Bill Everett before he got into Daredevil. It's World War II character, but I think that Submariner number 1, that's going to be a hot book once we start getting some more looks or information of him showing up in a movie or not.
64. What's this one? That's the foily. That looks like the foil variant. This is so undervalued. I don't understand this one. I've just noticed this for a couple of years back that I feel that this particular book, Hulk 102, again his first in this title, is so undervalued, man. It's relatively inexpensive out there.
Yeah, because this is what was it? Tales to
This is an
Astonish
8.5, which is almost, high grade for 12 cents.
Yeah,
$500, $550.
that's nothing. That's nothing
nothing.
for that. Wow. Yeah, and again, this is his first. Back then, they, as opposed to today, books back then, if a title had a higher number, it got more prestige and more sales and more stuff like that. So they did things like that where they kept the numbering and just changed the title. They did the same thing with Captain America when that was split off into his own book. But yeah, it's really cool. This is great too. That
What do
this
you
came out
think
of a
of this?
toy. The only way you
Came
can
out of
find
a
this is in a
freaking
toy.
man.
Yeah.
And every kid that got it just probably chucked this book off to the side. So getting this book in high grade must just be wicked hard.
It's similar to that Silver X-Men
A
11.
raw comic sold for $575.
That's FOMO right there.
That's
FOMO.
FOMO. What's a 9.8 going for? A 9.8 went for $2,500 in December 6th. That's insane.
The market
What
is
it was before
uncontrollable.
that.
It's
I wanna see
uncontrollable.
prior.
It's
Look,
unpredictable.
So this book
it's exciting.
was a $600 book, and then there's some speculation because it's $1,000 book, and then it was a $1,600 book, and then you get this trailer and it goes to a $2,500 book.
And that's
Wow.
the thing is that we saw Spider-Man 2099 in the first Spider-Verse film. So it's not like it's a surprise and he just came out of nowhere. It's just, again, it's like what Tivo said, you kind of get the hand of God kind of situation where you have to see it to believe it.
Anything on this list we want to stop by? I should be checking the chat.
Look
Look at the Aussie variant, he says. Look at the Aussie variant. Is that what this is? Is that what this thing is?
The Fallout for $615 for
Is this an
9.8?
Aussie variant?
Let's take a look. It's a
The
Lamole comic.
Lamole foil?
That's a Mexico convention, I believe,
The
right?
Mexico convention? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
The Lamole. I don't have this.
Interesting.
$615 for a 9.8 in the Mole variant. All right, let's see if he said there was an Aussie. That might have been it.
What about someone's
Ooh, look at this one. Oh, and the startling next to it. Let's do this one first.
Oh, you get you get some male butt shots on this
She's
one.
chained up, so there's some bondage there. This dude's down. Planet Comics: The Lost World, featuring Hunt Bowman, Mars, God of War, and Gale Allen and others. 10 center. Weird Adventures of Other Worlds. Good
I would
stuff,
love
man.
to see the original art for
1945.
this.
A
I would
raw
love to see the
dog
original
for
art.
$400.
Wow.
And then right next to it, we had, check out this startling.
This is
comic.
great. This space comic is awesome.
Look at this one.
And look at that. It's just like airbrush. Like, I'm so interested in how the art works on something like this. But wow,
Featuring
look at
Lance Lewis, Space Detective. Startling Comics, issue 51, 10 center from 1948.
Can't go wrong.
$417 for a Raw.
Can't go wrong with girls in bikini shooting laser guns in
No, you
space.
can't.
I'm in.
Ooh, Star Wars 1 and a 9.0. I got one of those. Oh, yeah.
That seems pretty cheap for that book. I don't know what
check out
that
this
is.
Planet Comics.
Oh, look at that creature on there too.
All right. Flint Baker Space Scout. The Lizard Lions of Azeroth. Also,
we got Hunt Bowman back in here.
Hunt
There you
Bowman
go.
he's popular gentleman. Mars, God of War. 10 centers.
I think every woman on these covers is always wearing red. There must be something about red.
$400 for a Raw comic. I agree with you. I wonder what the conditions were. I'm sure they were bad. This is I think I know somebody who owns this. I think Biggie Shaq owns this one with the swastika on the cover. 10 cents Superman. Look at that.
Yeah, that's interesting because those.
I'm like, we're screwed, man. He just sunk the ship. We're screwed.
You just swimming after him, or you guys are in trouble.
Oh man, 1943, $391 for a Raw. Look at that 4.5 graded going for $1,800.
That's the thing about some of these books too, and I'm gonna try and say this sensitively, but there are collectors out there that like the World War II books that has like the Nazi propaganda stuff on it, or even like some of the Japanese stuff on it. There's an interesting aspect to all that kind of stuff. And this is really cool too.
This is cool, man. Look at the ladies are all like September issue 56 from 1948. So yeah, man, anything in the 40s Raw is $400 basically, $400 bill.
That's not bad. I'd spend $400 for something cool like that. You know,
Fiction House Wings number 94. She's strapped to the freaking top. Dude, the ropes around her neck and her ankles. Holy moly, man, he ain't playing.
The airplane engine's on fire.
1948. Still again. Yeah, about 350.
You're looking at $400 for that fun stuff.
Man. Secret Wars 8, 9.6. That seems like a good deal for that.
That seems,
that's a good deal.
That book is so undervalued. That should have been a big book forever. But it's
you think it still will be, or it'll never will be? I don't know.
I'm just saying it deserves to be. Like, that is such a significant part of Spider-Man history.
Look at this cover. This is nice.
That's a Bill Sienkiewicz cover, right? Yeah.
Nice. All red. I wonder if this is tough and high grade. 1982.
Has to be.
$329 for a 9.8.
That's with that all red spine and not having a 9.8 being at that low of a price. That's an incredible.
All right, one more. Oh, what's up with this Doctor Strange? Does this mix? Do you know any info on this one? Is this
no 81 Doctor Strange? Not sure.
What's up with that?
$318 for a 9.6. Let's see if there's any info on this.
I wonder if it's a key and any first appearance of Rintra. I don't know who that is.
No,
someone's specking that Rintra is coming. 317. One more. We'll call it. My wife's looking at me at the doorway right now. Going, what are you doing, man?
We're talking comic books.
I know. Talking about comic books. I'm having a good time. Weird Adventures on the Other World, the Universe of Future. Hunt Bowman. He was a man. Hunt Bowman was pulling the ladies.
Is he fighting conquistadors? Is that what that is?
I don't know who are they fighting.
I think that is. Oh no, this is God of War. But wow.
All right.
People says there was a toy spoiler for Rintroth.
Oh, is that what that is? Dude, toys are always messing stuff up.
A toy alert is what
the toys are always messing it up. There you have it. Today's Shakers list. I think that's it. TiVo, what do you think, man? I think we hit the list pretty good. As a matter of fact,
I think we
considering that it was a little makeshift there at the end. Should we remove this? TiVo, I think we're going to go ahead and remove.
There was some fun stuff. I think we got some good information out there. We saw some cool books. Got to see what some prices look like. Talk about what's going with the crazy kind of shakeups of what's going on with the market. It's always interesting to see what's selling, what people are spending their money on. Again, I always like the discussion that me and you were having, JB, like, who's buying this as opposed to, first appearance of Galactus, first appearance of Silver Surfer, things like that. It's always interesting to see what people are really leaning towards. And then I get to think to myself, what would I buy with that?
What would you buy with that?
That's a $6,000. You get a half decent giant size X-Men for that.
Absolutely. Gabe, thank you for joining us tonight. This was a fantastic episode. And what have you got coming up this week? You got anything on the pipe coming down?
No, nothing going on. It's Christmas time coming up. I'm off of work until Monday, which is great. I got family coming over, so I'm going to hide from family and finish reading Craven's Last Hunt or something going on, you know.
Very cool. Very cool.
What do you got going on, JB? Tell people where people can find you.
Well, I've been dropping content. Been dropping content on the channel. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm doing is I'm looking at the Shakers list every day and just kind of reporting what those top 5 most highest volume sales were, and I doing a little show format. It's been kind of cool, so go check that out. I want to shout out Aegis Comics of Alaska. If you're not following Aegis Comics of Alaska, please take a moment, go check them out on Instagram and on YouTube. Great channel over there. And they sent me this t-shirt in large. So shout out to them. Appreciate them. I want to shout out TiVo for letting me take the big chair today. I really appreciate you putting the faith in JB from Discovery Bay Comics into steering the show along. And of course, I want to thank this fantastic live chat that we get every Thursday right here. You guys are the best. Thanks for showing up on Thursday. Thanks for showing up on Tuesdays. And don't forget, TiVo's doing Sundays again, so you don't want to miss that. That's pretty much our show. You know how we like to end it. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and keep digging in those long boxes. Peace, everybody.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is faithful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here. We're back. Word up. Here's to what y'all. You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.
You can't understand.